Hello and welcome to Interview Showcase. I'm Valentine Kengbeza. Today's edition of the program touches on cultural diversity in the Maritimes, and I'm joined by Reverend Elias Mutale, Board Chair for the African Diaspora Association of the Maritimes, better known as ADAM. Thanks for honoring my invitation, Reverend.
My pleasure. Thank you, Valentine. Looking forward.
First off, it's very obvious, but then, what does ADAM stand for?
ADAM stands for African Diaspora Association of the Maritimes. That's an opportunity to bring together recent immigrants from the continent of Africa so that even though they're far away from home, we give them a sense of identity and belonging far away.
Now, what do you make of the fact that recent statistics show that Canada has a growing population of about 7 million foreign-born, and which transcends that Canada is an ethno-cultural mosaic? You as a clergyman, having lived here for 30 years, with your Canadian experience and your African background, what does cultural diversity mean to you?
I'm actually really excited with the Canadian cultural mosaic because diversity is in design. If you look at nature, the seasons are diverse. Now is winter, fall just passed, and then spring will come and summer. The design of nature, now in spirituality we would say God's design, is diversity. That means that diversity is the ideal that we must all aim for, because life would be really, really boring if it was all winter or all summer and nothing else.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced, and how were you able to overcome them, if there are any?
Anytime you go to a new place, you have to learn new ways and new values, but you also have big decisions to make about where do your old values and old ways fit in. So the challenge primarily is to find how to be able to connect in your new society without losing your own cultural identity. That clash of cultures we found was a very big challenge. But once you get past that and you familiarize somewhat with the needs, the ways, the approaches of a new culture, then you can fit in and integrate without feeling lost.
So how did you get involved in cultural diversity to become the chairman of the board for ADAMS?
I've been very privileged throughout most of my adult life. When I went to church as a teen in the late 70s, I attended Lusaka Baptist Church, which was a very diverse church. There were 400 people from all over the world: UK, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, Denmark, etc., and of course, many Zambian people. So as soon as we arrived in Nova Scotia, one of our immediate observations was the divided way that life appears to exist. We have black and we have white and we have more. And so immediately we got involved to try and promote diversity. So my first pastoral charge were 2 white churches. That's the first time they had a black pastor. And within a couple of years, we had begun to bring people of African descent in the mix.
That's great. And talking about community service, I see you brought with you 2 pieces of art that have your names on them. Can you tell us more about them?
Sure. This one is an award from Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Every year in October, they honor men and women who have had some level of recognized involvement in helping to mentor up and coming young people. And I count it a real privilege to be involved in the lives of young people, to help them see what they could become. So I was really honored to be one of the Big Brothers, Big Sisters recipients in 2010. This one is special because it was given to me in Toronto by the York Regional Police. Every year they host a fair amount of African heritage activities in February. And for one of those events that year, I was the keynote speaker. And so they flew me and my wife down there And so it represents a reach beyond the Maritimes, and so that makes it special for me.
Which definitely means that you'll be so involved in cultural activities in the local communities. But then, it's obvious, one would say, that cultural diversity is not a white versus black people demarcation. What are some of the differences you've noticed within the black communities? Talking about Africans who've been here, like African Nova Scotians, and new immigrants that you were struggling to integrate.
That's a very good point, because diversity is created by a lot of factors, including where you were born, where you were raised. So we have in the Africa Diaspora Association Africans from all over the world, indigenous Africans to Nova Scotia, but we have Caribbean Africans, and then of course we have continental Africans, and each of those environments creates its own socialization. And even though the color of the skin might be the same, but the upbringing will be different. The opportunities and exposure will be different. The key is to remember that in spite of those social differences, geographical differences, as a people, black and white, native and French, we're really all human beings. And the strive is to be able to relate to one another and encounter, experience, and be blessed by the richness of other cultures.
In other words, everything is going smoothly so far?
Pretty much. There are always challenges. You know, humanity is a complex bunch. And we love what we're doing in Adam. We are very excited. Our reach is good. The event this Saturday is a multicultural gala at which all kinds of people will be present, black and white, and we'll be showcasing that diversity in both programming as well as outfits. So yes, it's going well. It doesn't mean there are no obstacles, because you have to keep confronting those, finding ways to overcome so that the oneness grows and we don't see much divide between us.
Good thing you're taking us to the future. So what are your hopes as it is now to see the Maritimes grow and be the harmonious society with unity in diversity?
That is beginning to happen, because when we arrived in Canada in the 80s, it was very homogeneously white. Today, even in Nova Scotia, it looks quite different. Yesterday, I was in a bank, and I was standing by the counter. Here was a white lady, here was a lady of Arab descent, here was a black woman, and I thought it looked so beautiful. So the future looks good, because Nova Scotia has opened its doors to newcomers. We have a lot of newcomers coming in, and the open doors are allowing everyone to thrive. My biggest hope is that we don't cocoon in small communities, because integration is the key. We need to be able to come together, work together, even if we come from separate origins, and we need to find those common things that bring us together. Then our cultural mosaic will be very rich and wonderful.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for taking out the time to be here and to talk about cultural diversity, your experience. All we wish you probably would say good work.
Well, thank you very much.
We
It's
look forward
been
to
an
another
absolute joy
opportunity.
to share this time with you, and I hope that you continue to have a great contribution to the making of a prosperous diversity wherever you are.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks to my guest, Reverend Elias Mutale. For Interview Showcase, I'm Valentine Nkengbeza. Have a good time on Waterfront TV. Join me next time for another edition. Bye-bye.